pursuant to Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023 and as amended as of March 28, 2025. This meeting will be conducted in person and as a courtesy via remote means in accordance with applicable law. Please note that while an option for remote attendance and or participation is being provided as a courtesy to the public and board members, the meeting/hearing will not be suspended or terminated if tech problems interrupt the virtual broadcast unless required by law. This meeting will be recorded by the local scene, formerly known as pac-tv. Members of the public who wish to watch the meeting may do so by viewing the Duxbury Government Access channels. I think I'm reading the select boards one, but it's close enough. And the local scene.media/Sudbury, Duxbury. That's about
Take the right town.
yeah, it's not
Pull
another.
it in, get tight.
Pull it in, get your act together. Sorry about that, guys. All right, here we go. This is my third meeting of the week, so I apologize. It's not quite as tight as it could be. All right, so we are continuing on our votes for the CPC articles. And I believe that we left off. We did affordable housing, but we needed to do the Brooks Athletic Fields investigation. Why don't we start with that? Holly Morse is here and our wonderful head of all recreational things, Mr. Steve Studley. So I leave it to them. No, you're not talking. All right. He's not going to talk. All right.
I'm here for the playground.
Yeah, he's here for the playground. The request is for $138,000. The CPC voted on this article this morning and approved it. How many members were there? There were five.
Okay.
I'm going to pass this over to Steve because he does an excellent job of describing what is going to be happening to this area.
So you're talking. Yes, we switched. This is not the DCF Brooks.
So
This is not the Ellison playground. We're talking about the football field or what are we, Drew? What are we talking about? What's the name of the field?
Right? DRC, the community, Duxbury Recreation. I'm sorry, I'm confused now. We're talking about the fields in front of Steel Building.
My job here is done. Anyone who's
All
confused.
right, which one?
That's Article 28.
I don't have the numbers.
It's Brooks Athletic Fields.
Brooks
Investigation
Athletic
Test.
Field, the
Okay.
two fields in front of the Steel
All right.
Building. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
What's
No
with these
problem.
pictures?
Yep,
Article 31,
got it.
Or 28, actually.
oh, 28 now, sorry.
Oh, God.
The playground is 25.
Yeah, we just went a little bit.
It was a request for $90,860.
Yes. Again, I think it is, the CPA committee reviewed this and actually did the site visit and so forth. Again, this is for investigative testing and planning on the two fields. These fields were chosen because of the greatest benefit to students, and I'm sure we're going to be hearing a lot of repetitive stuff about this. The funds will be used to conduct an assessment of the fields to determine future improvements. First of all, CPA funds cannot be used for the installation of artificial turf. The fields are heavily used and they show it. An analysis will determine if drainage is adequate, as the soil is very compacted and it's uncertain as to what is beneath the soil. As you may recall, this site was originally the Wright estate. Then that was torn down. I remember sitting in school watching them tearing it down and burning it down. And also, the high school was built on top of the property, but there's some understanding that the site work may have been a little
Hurry.
Yes, I think, you know, just for your information, town council reviewed this proposal and provided the CPC with information. The Department of Revenue advises that CPA funds may not be used to bear costs of feasibility studies assessments, appraisals, or plans unrelated to the CPC statutory duties. Or a proposed project or related to a project which is not eligible for funding under CPA, such as the installation of turf. The issue is whether CPC is able to determine what the report will likely recommend until the assessment is completed. As long as there are options to improve the fields without turf, the CPC may condition the use of the CPA fields on studying multiple options. So we are, the committee and has determined that this is a doable project to do this assessment. Really find out what is underneath and what we could potentially put there. If it is determined by other entities that turf is the option to go, then we step away from that.
Would these monies then have to be returned?
It could, if the CPC decided to go that route. Again,
Would that be the Duxbury CPC that would have to, that would be deciding to go that route, or?
that would be the Duxbury CPC.
Okay. So you would have to be in a position where you would ask for the funds back.
Right.
Okay. Interesting. So last night, we heard a bit about this, about these two fields. Was it you, Drew, that did, okay, do you want to maybe speak to the fields and what exactly is going to be happening
Sure.
or could happen here? Do you mind, Holly? Is that
No,
good for you? I didn't think you would be upset. So
Certainly the
Drew, would you mind doing that?
Happy to.
person on this.
So,
Does everybody know Drew?
yeah, I'm Drew Thawley. I live on West Street. And I'm involved quite a bit in the youth sports scene here in town. And we put together an organization that represents all 10 youth sports organizations in town. Just as a matter of scope, we've got about 3,400 kids in town that play some version of a youth sport. We spend about 15,000 hours on town fields a year, every year. And we impact a lot of households, as you might imagine, in town. These two fields are, as Holly nicely said, on the side of the old school, which was on the side of an old estate. And we've done a lot of work on this so far. It started with an assessment of overusage. Our intuition told us that it was overused and under cared for. What we learned was that it was overused and properly cared for. So the town really has done all it can to support not just these fields, but others that are egregiously overused and really beaten to a stage of being unusable, such that we not just canceled practices, but we've had officials show up and cancel games because this conditions are unsafe. It's not often, but it's happened. So we hired a firm to come in and do an independent assessment. We worked with the high school. We worked with every single youth sport. The outcome was, in fact, yes, you're right. The only thing is that even if you had the level of care that Fenway Ballpark receives, you would still be overusing these fields the way they are. These two in particular, not only are they very prominent, in a very prominent location in town, of course, this is the front door to many people who come to visit our town through their sports programs. But they are obviously geographically convenient to the school. The youth sports have been willing to invest money that in outcomes that will benefit not just the youth, the real youth, the little guys, but the high school too. So the high school, we presented this all to high school superintendent and school committee are on board in support of this work. The next phase, now that we know that they are overused, we know that it's not a matter of care. The next phase is to figure out how can we improve these fields and what are the options? And so the options really range from do nothing and continue to use it as it is. That's kind of a path to nowhere. On the other end of the spectrum is put turf there, But there are lots of opportunities in between those two. And the one that we're really quite interested in because it benefits soccer in addition to every other sport is some version of a natural turf. We can't put modern day natural turf there because the soil, as Holly said, is so compressed. We don't know what's underneath it. So there's new varieties of natural turf that thrive in a very well drained environment. We believe there is good drainage underneath here. We think that it was started to be prepared for synthetic turf, which also needs drainage. That money ran dry. So we are interested in understanding, can we refurbish these two fields with a sand-based drainage layer, big thick drainage layer, with a substructure of gravel, and then ultimately a way to vacate the water underneath it. So that's what we're asking for. The money is, half of the money basically is to do pit testing. We would do it in the summer of 20, whatever the next summer would be when this money would come available. So as not to disrupt, you know, the seasons that are being used on the field, the sports seasons. And we would do, I've got drawings and everything, but we would do, a third party would do pit testing, so drilling to see what's actually down there. And they would take the as-built. The as-built we have were not really, even Mr. Lemieux was very involved in this. He confirms the as-built don't necessarily tell a story about what's underneath there. So it's a little bit of a mystery, and we can't really prescribe solutions until we figure it out, and that's what this is for. Half the money is to drill all over, well, not all over the place, but in strategic places. Then the other half of the money is to say, all right, now that we know what we know, what are we going to do next? And what are the options? So that's when we have meeting with the town. We have a meeting with, if needed, butters and anybody else that may be interested in it to figure out what is the go forward plan. If the only go forward plan at that point is a synthetic solution, well, one plan would be do nothing. The other would be the other, by the way, the school might be interested in that solution because it's revenue generating, much more so than a natural turf, but there are definite trade-offs. We've talked about this a lot. I think our youth programs are hopeful that this will be a natural turf solution, and that's what we're looking for.
I'm sorry, but you're saying natural turf,
Natural being grass.
meaning grass, okay?
So synthetic is like,
Oh, no,
Yeah.
I'm all over it. It's
Okay.
Super Bowl weekend. I'm all over the turf versus the grass conversation. I got it.
I apologize if that was a long explanation for you, but that's,
I just want to make sure I was hearing the natural, okay?
Right, and the schools are over the moon that you're doing this.
well, yeah, they don't have the money.
So they're very content, they're happy that this is coming forward. You have their permission.
Completely. I keep the athletic director close to our progress on this and other fields too, by the way. There's lots of other opportunities, and there are lots of other opportunities in the future. So if there's ever a doubt that there is a need for CPC funding that has nothing to do with that we know 100% is natural turf, without question, without needing investigation as much, there will be a serious need for that coming up soon. These two have to be improved first in order to alleviate pressure on these other fields. So it's like a domino thing where a couple have to fall and then the other ones can move too. But these are the first two with the biggest benefit.
And these are owned by the school, these fields are owned by,
They're owned by the town, but they're under the care and protection of the schools.
and what we're saying is that, or the schools are saying is that they cannot, care and protect.
They can't afford to do the research necessary to figure out what to do next. And they don't, so. Yeah, that's my understanding.
Okay. I'm just trying to, because you mentioned that these are revenue generating.
Well, they're not now. I mean, they are in a very minor way and
Where does the football team play?
Behind,
Behind, okay.
that's a turf field.
So this, there's the turf field, okay.
they play here too. They practice here.
Okay, so this is really used for, as you said, the soccer teams and then the,
Lacrosse is big.
lacrosse.
Football is big. Field hockey is big. Boys and girls lacrosse. Some soccer today, they would use it much more for soccer if that field were in better shape. Who else is there? I feel like I'm missing somebody, but I think that might be it.
And are these town leagues as well as school leagues?
they're all, nothing that I've mentioned is anything club related. I'll make that clear.
Okay,
And the the primary interest is youth, so eighth grade and younger. The secondary and peripheral benefit comes to high school because they use it too.
Thank you.
any other questions?
Yeah, I just have a question. Your organization, how are you funded? Are you funded to the other underlying sports groups?
Yeah, yep, exactly. We basically did an assessment of who has more, how many players do we have and what's the revenue look like? Because like youth soccer is a much different program than youth softball. Youth lacrosse is where I entered the scene is different than, so we all have kind of an equitable stake in the deal. There's no profit, but an equitable investment
Sure.
in the deal. So we've put in about 50 grand across all the programs, and then that's into the nonprofit that we started. But then right now, every year, youth baseball puts in their own money, gives it to the town. You all have seen some of that as gifts that then get turned back into investments in the fields. So that there's some of that activity that happens as well. And indirectly, families are paying for all this.
Okay.
I move we approve Article 28 as presented.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, we have Teddy and Al, so we're gonna start with the remote. Teddy,
Aye.
Al,
Aye.
Chuck, I.
JRI.
Ashley, I.
Betsy, I.
Kathleen, I.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, no
Thank you,
worries. Good luck.
Yeah.
So
The next is six.
700.
The playground,
Yes.
it's 25.
Now did I start in the middle?
What's the other thing? Bring it back.
Typical.
All right.
Typical. So we have the Ellison Playground surfacing. The request is for 137,962.
Right.
Holly, did you want to present?
Yes, once I find it. Here we go. The original request was, for $26,300 to do sort of a portion of the playground. This is to replace the wood chips with poured in rubber, allowing for accessible paths to the equipment. This will make the playground a little bit more ADA compliant and mobility for wheelchairs, strollers and mobility devices. However, looking at this project and looking at the funds that we have in CPA, I asked Steve if he could finish this project. This would have been a multi-year project, at least 5 years, 6, something like that.
Depending on the Ellison Fund revenue.
Right. And since we had the funding and since this is a heavily used playground, there are so many families over there. I asked him to look into what it would cost to really finish this project. And so he did that. He provided me a figure. It changed from 26,300 to 138,000. And the CPC voted in favor unanimously to approve this project. And I will pass it over to Steve because he's done all the research and everything. And I thank him for doing that for us. So.
I did want to mention what the thing that caught my attention last night is when you said that if you did it over time, it would cost $70,000 more.
Minimum of 70, yeah. And the reason being for that is the whole project started with, I've always wanted to have the poured rubber surfacing. In the town right now, we have 2 playgrounds, the lad playground at Chandler and the new Clancy playground at Wadsworth, which are poured rubber. There's still a few other playgrounds in the town that are 5R wood chips. That's becoming a thing of the past. New Hampshire just passed the rule that it's not going to be ADA compliant to use wood chips anymore. They have a year to convert playgrounds, and we're going to be heading in that direction. it's really, and I'm all behind that rule because wood chips for a wheelchair or stroller, other types of mobility devices just aren't right. I've been down there and have witnessed it. You can't push a wheelchair through wood chips. It just doesn't work well. And kids, unfortunately, are left on the sideline. So I've always wanted to go towards the poured rubber. So 3 years ago, with the Ellison Fund, which is a gift to the town annually, we get the interest off the original donation. I used I used all of it that year, and the number always varies. When I first did it, it was 44,000 a few years ago. Not first used the Ellison Fund, but used it for this. The way that money needs to be used is half has to be designated to the playground, the other half to a worthy town project. So that year I discussed with the trustees and they approved me to use the whole chunk of it. Was like 44,000, I believe, to start phases of putting in the poured rubber. As you can see on that picture, the dark stuff is the poured rubber and the light are the wood chips still. So the original phase one was from the entrance to the most popular apparatus. We took it right to where the handicap accessible area of that apparatus is. Since then, we've used Ellison Fund again to extend it in phase two. And what I originally came to the CPC for, the $26,000 was going to be for phase three. The tree kind of blocks out in that picture. We'd be going from a slide over to these spring rockers, they're called. And then if you actually see at the bottom, there's a circle that's dark, that's rubber, that's a spinner. We wanted to connect that to, right there to you can see the blue tube coming down just above it. Just that small little strip there, just so they could get from one thing to another. So when Holly reached back out to me and said, what would it take to do the entire playground? I was excited to take that on and met with the playground architect, and we walked the playground, and he was extremely helpful. He's done a lot of work for the town, so he knows the playgrounds. He's the one that it's Childscapes is the company. He donated a majority of the playground equipment for the Wadsworth Clancy Where Angels Play project, as well as all of his staff. He had work, he paid them, so there were no fees for that. The guy's been really good to the town. So my original thing was, I said, before we even did these phases, what would it take to put rubber everywhere in there? And it's almost $500,000 if you wanted to fill the whole area with rubber. But he said, you don't want to do that. That's a waste. There's so many areas. And the example I keep using is, let's say this room was the playground and all these tables are the apparatuses, swings, slides, whatever. Well, the poured rubber still costs as much to pour over in these corners that we'll never get to. So the plan he gave me, and I don't have the drawing of it, but we've walked it, is basically an amoeba going around the entire playground, encasing the apparatuses. And then from there, paths, as you kind of see there, going to each apparatus so they can get at everything. And you can get from the slides to the swings to the rockers, whatever it is you want to use. So basically the best and most financially responsible way to do it is to do it with a surrounding with path. So when he did that, the original request, my 26,000, was for 690 square feet of poured rubber. When you incorporate all the work, that comes out to about $38 a square foot. When I did the entire project, it was about 5,200 square feet. And when you do it in bulk, it's about $26 a square foot. So the savings just on that, if we were to continue to do it in phases based on today's prices, we'd save about $70,000. The reason I say that's a minimum is because that stuff's not going to get cheaper as the years go on. And if I'm 25,000 and 30,000 over the next 4 or 5 years, my guess is probably cost us $125,000 more by the time we're done doing it. So Holly's advice to me was to get the price for the total project. We got it. It's good. That product's great. The company that lays it down gives you a 7-year guarantee that if anything happens to it in 7 years, they'll replace it for free. I asked him what the actual is because he's put in hundreds of these over the last 20 years. He said it varies. It's about 10 to 12 years in high traffic areas. low traffic areas, he has playgrounds that have been 18 years and he's never had to do a thing with it. What I explained to CPC this morning was he showed me some of the playgrounds. What happens is there's, say underneath a swing, you've all been to a playground, if it's wood chips or whatever it is, it just gets worn and it's 3 feet
Trench.
deep. I know it's a trench underneath there. So what they do is the paths they'll put around everywhere are 2.5 inches thick. Under the swings, they put 3.5 inches to try to save on it. It still will eventually get more worn than a general area. But what they do is, and it's kind of cool, our paths are green with black speckle in them. So if we needed to bring them in for them to charge us to fix after 7 years, instead of trying to replace it with the same color, what they said through experience, it doesn't look as good because you'd have bright green with black speckle and everything else would look faded. So what they do is they would put, say it's at the bottom of a slide, they'd put like a yellow diamond or triangle or shapes. And then I've seen playgrounds now that have had some patchwork done over the years. And it actually, it's fun. It looks pretty cool. And that's not that expensive of a fix, where we've been using shipping in 5R wood chips for the last 20 years anyway. And again, that process used to be $1,000 or $1,500 a season to add to the wood chips. The last time we did it, which was about 4 years ago, because this same playground architect told me you don't need any more wood chips. They go down pretty deep right now. You can fluff them up, but it was about $10,000. So to spend $10,000 a year to keep bringing in wood chips versus doing it the right way, making it so that all kids can get to everything to a point where we're going to have to do it eventually anyway. And the savings of doing it all at once to me are a no-brainer, really. I think this is a great thing. And I'm pretty passionate about it because I've been down there and seen people not be able to use things. And this will eliminate that, which I think is a great thing.
Any questions?
I move the finance committee approves Article 25, CPC Ellison Playground Surfacing.
Second.
Teddy,
Yes.
Al,
Aye.
Chuck, I.
JRI.
Actually,
Betsy, I.
Kathleen, I.
Okey-doke, 700. Happy and hello.
Thank you, Steve.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. I really appreciate
Thank
it.
you for coming out again
Oh.
tonight.
My pleasure.
I just want to also point out, Steve told us that they use wood chips over, there's a weird playground at Alden. At Keene Street, they use wood chips over there, and there's a playground at Chandler that has wood chips around it, as well as the tar kiln swings.
Yeah.
So we may want to look at a couple of those sites. going
Moving
forward.
forward, oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
Can we take when we remove the wood chips from this one, could we repurpose them in another one?
We did that back in the fall when we put it's down now. We did some paths in the fall with Ellison money, and Katie in facilities was doing a playground, the small one in front of Alden. They were low on wood chips, and the company was looking, they just disposed of them. They drove them over, put them out and spread them for us.
Yeah.
So yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean,
And we'll be taking out a lot.
might as well save and use it again until we can get rid of them,
Correct.
save some money.
Absolutely.
Okey dokey, thanks.
Thank you.
Take care, kiddo.
Have a good night, everybody.
Good to see you.
Take care.
And the third one, have we renamed that article?
We're renaming it.
What would be the new name of that article?
St. Caesar House mural restoration project.
Antique mural.
Antique. Well, I did not write that. Antique and painted wall covering restoration.
Wall covering, okay, we are gonna, we're gonna just go with Article 26. Wallpaper restoration, but it will be probably renamed to appropriately reflect what it is.
Yes.
Did everybody see this last night? Did you all, did
No.
you need to? I think it's worth, can we get this, oh, good, you've got it there. Why don't you, or Holly, go ahead if you want to start, or so you can tell us
sure.
what it is.
This was obviously a request from the Duxbury Rural and Historical Society. The CPC went over and looked at the wallpaper or the covering or murals or whatever we are calling it.
Mural.
They are quite extraordinary. I have to say, I mean, if you've been over in the King Caesar house, you've seen them for years. This will partially fund the restoration at 60,000 is the request. This will partially fund the restoration of the hand painted covering from France dating from 1818 and circa 1820 to 25. The material covers all four walls of the two front parlors. The Historical Society has installed HVAC at their own expense to further protect the collection and the building itself, and is planning on soliciting donations and applying for grants if available. And we've been a partner with the Historical Society and other nonprofits. I would say that the nonprofits account for about 9.7% of the money that's been expended from the historical account. So, and I'm going to pass this over to Sabrina.
Thank you. I'm happy to discuss. I also have pictures if you want me to pass them to you, because it's a little difficult to see what's there. Thank you. So as Holly said, what we're looking for is assistance in funding a project that's beyond the scope of our budget. It is to restore the hand-blocked antique wallpaper that has been in situ in the house since circa 1820. So it was installed in the house about 10 years after the house was built, and it's been there ever since. And so that in and of itself, it makes it a very rare piece of artwork, both of them. So the papers cover all four walls of the two front parlors. They are murals that tell two different stories. The west parlor is a French pastoral scene, and the east parlor is a depiction of Pizarro, a very romanticized, a depiction of Pizarro conquering the Incas. And so as such, these two very remarkable pieces of artwork they're teaching tools, they're conversation starters, they're an important part of the tours of the house. They're part of what we discuss when we have field trips that come through and with adults, having to do with the styles, the choices of the day, what values and morals are reflected in these. Yes.
I'm so sorry, I didn't catch your name.
Hi,
And who you represent?
I'm Sabrina Kaplan, and I'm the director of the Duxbury Rural and Historic.
Thank you very much.
I'm so sorry. I assumed that.
You probably said it, I just didn't hear it. Thank you.
That's totally fine. Any other? Okay. So anyway, they're important, and they have, as I said, been in the house since circa 1820. You all live here too. You know that it's very humid. We have not had the ability to control the climate inside the house ever until this past month. We installed HVAC. The DRHS was able to spend, it was close to $70,000 of our money to furnish the house with a full HVAC system. And it truly would have been putting the cart before the horse to try to restore these paintings before we had the HVAC, because without the ability to control the climate, we would have been doing this work and the artwork would have been deteriorating anyway. So we're very, very pleased that actually now we can protect all the items in our collection that are housed there. But these murals they're among the most valuable articles in our collection.
So will some of this money be used to restore the wallpaper, not just to protect it, but
Oh,
to,
yes,
if it's
actually.
cracked or peeling?
No, so
Yeah.
that's the thing. It's flaking, it's buckling in places. There's all kinds of situations across the two separate parlors. There's a lot, it's peeling. And so what these conservatories do in different spots, localized and very delicately, they're either using adhesives to re-adhese the flaking or peeling or buckled parts to the to the surface, or they're filling in.
So it's like restoring any piece of art
Yes.
that you would.
Exactly.
You just can't take it away. You gotta do it on site.
You have to do it
Yeah.
there.
I
Yeah.
also think it's really interesting that it's a little bit of.
Would you like to identify yourself? I'm sorry,
Oh, yeah, sure. Bree Ling, I'm the chair of the Housing Authority. I sit on the CPC and I sit on the Affordable Housing Trust.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Linda doesn't know, so,
Oh, sorry.
no, she's a remote. She just has to write it down for the crowd.
I think it's very interesting that you have the little tiny wood stamp information. How they use the little squares. And I think that's
It's not hand painted, it was block
It's
print.
like blocks, and I think when you add just that little tidbit, it changes from a painting to like artwork. So I really do think if you add that to your presentation, because it's tantalizing, like it's just clear, like wait, what? You know what I mean? So add that, it's so.
Yes,
good.
I mean, truly.
It's so, I've known that since I was in third grade, that it was little blocks. I think it's so cool.
So this was the process in the early 1800s for this type of manufacturing of wallpaper. Literally hundreds of wooden blocks were hand carved, and painted over, and that's how the paintings were done onto the wallpapers. So what we're asking for is money to continue the project. We've been able to allocate in our fiscal year 2026 budget $20,000 to do some initial stabilizing of the most compromised parts or sections of the wallpaper. And so the conservatories have already actually come to start on that, to identify those spots and to work on those. But ideally we'd be able to continue this work with them sort of smoothly and not have to wait and have them come back in a year or 2 years once. Fortunately, it will not continue to deteriorate at the same rate as it had been deteriorating, because we do have the HVAC now to help stabilize the environment inside the house. But of course, like all of your projects here that you're going to, prices are only going to go up from year to year.
So does anybody else have any more questions?
I have a question. Yeah.
Yes, go
So
ahead.
what's your success rate with Mass Cultural as far as achieving getting grants?
Mine is 100% because I've applied for one grant and I've received
What-
it.
I'm really good at it, so she wants to say, and.
But what actually, what happened was we were hoping very much to apply for more funding. They require a matching grant for this project. And the deadline for that application is in December. And as I was going and looking to see when they were gonna open up the application materials online, it went from requiring a grace period of 1 year to apply for another grant to 2 years to apply for another grant. And so we had received just about $20,000 a little over a year ago to replace the gutters on King Caesar House, and which was great. But that precluded us because of the extension of the grace period from applying again. But if we're not able to receive donations to help continue this work between now and the next deadline for that application, that is another tree that I'm gonna be barking up for funding for this, because this is a type of project that they typically very much support.
Anybody else? Okay, JR?
I move the finance committee approves Article 26, CPC King's Teaser House wallpaper restoration.
Catherine,
As
second, somebody
presented.
second, okay, second. Okay, Al,
Aye.
Teddy,
Aye.
Okay.
So I have a hard time spending money on things in the past, so I'm gonna abstain.
okay, you can do that.
Ashley, I.
Betsy, aye.
Lita.
So that would be a 6-0-1. The wall covering didn't get you off that. huh?
Let's not get into it.
No, okay, lesson learned, Sabrina, lesson learned. Gotta think of another name for this.
Can I just add though, for all of you and to spread the word, we are gonna have 2 open houses ahead of the March 14th town meeting to really, to invite the public in. We're always trying to do that, but to share the wallpaper and the restoration process, which we're hoping to have people kind of learn about and experience a bit as well. I think it'll be a fun, educational, artistic learning experience for people. And also our historian will be there on hand to talk about the house.
We'll make sure we bring JR over.
The voting are.
Check and make sure there's either shots or anything we need to
We'll
find.
have with this historic society, we'll have a private showing.
Those open houses are the Saturday before.
Okay, just to plan, get your time ready.
I have this for you.
It's right here. It's
Oh, yeah.
Get him a picture. All right, thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank
Bye.
you
Good to
very
see you.
much.
Thank you.
You weren't gonna sell Girl Scout cookies here before you left through? I mean, what's wrong with you?
I don't have the order forms yet, I know. I finally have a Girl Scout.
Well, I knew I got one last night.
Thanks, Sabrina.
All right, bye. Thank you, Sabrina. Okay, great. So does that close out all the CPC articles? We did Polly's Pond again, Bay Farm,
We did Bay Farm.
Shipyard Beach Park.
Yeah. Di Lorenzo, we did.
Yeah, we're gonna change the name to the Shipyard Lane Beach.
It makes it sound like
Get
we're
rid of the
more grandiose
hard word.
than,
Yeah.
than it truly is. That would scare me if I lived out in
Took
Shipyard.
the votes.
We didn't do 27, did we?
Affordable Housing Trust Administrative Funding.
Yes.
Yeah, we did.
Did we want that?
Remember Dan Coughlin was here?
Oh, yeah,
And you helped me through the spreadsheet.
yeah. That's right.
That was right. That was right. So I think we're there. So Holly is here and Tony, and I wanted to discuss a little, there's been some conversation about surrounding the balances that you're carrying now and how that impacts your plans for the future and the percentage that is there. And I know you've had some conversations preliminary with the group, and I didn't know if you wanted to visit the elephant in the room or not.
It's certainly, I mean, it's our job, to address the elephant, if you will. Certainly, I have to say, we were really quite surprised at the balance, that we had, I think in part because we had not acquired any large properties recently. I do know that there is interest going forward by the Affordable Housing Trust is hoping to count on this money for any projects that they may have. If Kingstown Way goes forward, they will definitely be needing funds for that. Kingstown Way is the one that's right on Route 53, very close to the Kingsbury Club and so forth. They would really like to develop that property, but it also has a fair amount of open space in the back as well, in the back. I also know that speaking to Drew, they are really hoping that there will be CPA money because they would really like to address not just those two fields, but there are multiple fields in town, either redesigning them or revamping them, and making them more accessible, better use and whatnot. It is, looking at, the assessor gave me that the median assessed value of real estate in Duxbury, is $965,200. The median CPA surcharge is $263.19. We understand that, things are difficult, especially those who may have seen their utility bills these past few months. And I think the CPEC needs to have a greater conversation about this. I do know that 1% does not fly. That doesn't work. And I ran the numbers this afternoon, and we'd just be sitting there waiting for it to build. It would just take forever. So CPA projects wouldn't be getting done, only maybe very small things. It's an important program. Unfortunately, I think also because of the economy and so forth, and because real estate has been moving, the Registry of Deeds has not been getting the revenue stream that they have had typically in the past. We got, this past year, we received about $350,000 from the state matching funds, which is a little bit lower than what we have typically received. Again, because the real estate money.
What is the 3% raise a year?
Right now,
In the Duxbury?
the annual that we're getting.
Raise, it's just taking.
Barry, do you know how much the 3% equals in surcharge from our rolls?
Just over 2 million.
Our match was 331,000. This past match, 331,414.
So it's the majority of it is coming from the taxpayers.
Yes.
I'm
I mean, historically,
That 2 million did not include the state match. That's just the straight surcharge that we committed in FY26 was a little over 2 million.
That was a good question. Thank you.
our debt service for fiscal year 2027 is roughly 195,000.
And Mary, you said we couldn't pay that off.
No,
There's no call on it yet.
yeah.
Is what?
It's a bond, so they have to wait for a call date.
Okay. Thank you.
Sorry, do you have some of our recent, like how much, not exact numbers, but our recent land purchases, like what could some of those run us? Because I think that's my fear. I thought that this reserve was in place so that when a property became available, when someone was willing to part with, I know we have like usually a short list, we're in conversation with them, right? It could be a sizable amount, as you said, the average price. So
what happened was when the surcharge got reduced years ago, all of a sudden the Harrington property was under threat of being developed. And this is on Temple Street.
Yeah.
A farm. And people were coming in droves coming in and saying, CPA, buy it.
Yeah.
And we did. But we had to borrow for that. That was the only way because the surcharge we just didn't have enough revenue at that time. Then the Ricker property came around for sale, the Ricker Bogs on Mayflower Street.
It's also the pink.
And the Pink property, which is what street is that off of?
Well, it's
Woodward Path.
Old Cobra Path.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the whole right.
Property, what did the Mary property? Did you mention any of that?
borrowing. Yeah.
No, not in the borrowing. And so we ended up having to borrow for all of those. Fortunately, the Ricker was a short-term note. And we paid that off immediately, but we still have outstanding debt for the Harrington and the Pink property. You know,
And I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
go
if I could just add, the par value of that debt that was issued was just over $2 million. So it was 550,000 for Harrington and 1.5 million for the Pink property.
Right, right, so these are not small purchases, I guess is my point, right, so $5 million seems like a lot, but if if some valuable property came up and we can't be flat-footed, in my opinion, and then also 1% and 3% aren't our only options, right, like we can pick.
we can do whatever. we
Yeah,
want.
it's
two.
the match.
Well, 2.5, we could pick one of
The
them.
match.
The match that the three, it's only if you're at 3% that you get the $300,000 match, right?
No, you
No.
get your match. If you were 1%, you would get a match
Oh, well,
relative to
you were
one
showing that
percent.
thing the other day that all the different towns, Duxbury received a lot. and then
Yeah, so
Acton
let me
received a
explain
lot.
it to you. The way it works is if you're a 1% town, you only get the first drove.
Oh, okay.
Based on that.
Right.
If you are a 3% or a 2% town, still, you only get that one,
First.
amount. If you're a 3% town, you are eligible for multiple rounds. Only 3% towns are. And so we essentially, we went from, if you're a 1%, it was a 16%. Because we were a 3%, we got 19.6%.
Yeah.
Not huge this year. Again, this is because of what's going on in
Sure it
the
is.
state.
Yeah, so, but I guess. If the average person is paying $200 something a year
Mhm.
divided by your four, bills, they're not gonna see a big savings. Although it's the same principle as what they're gonna see with the override. They're not gonna see a big difference in that.
What do you
So,
mean not
No,
see a
so-
big, oh, you're talking
Can I
about,
just say
Annually
one thing
divided
real
by-
quick?
oh, I see
When
what
you
you mean.
pay taxes,
Okay.
you just, we're not saying it's a 3% increase. It's literally just 3% of the stuff you already pay.
yeah.
So if it takes
Yeah,
away
we
1%,
get that.
It
We
doesn't
get
go,
that.
it doesn't go to pay for something else that the town has to fund.
What do you mean?
So that 3% that's in, that if I give $300,
Right.
okay, that goes to the CPC fund, okay, and it can't be used to pay for a firefighter or
Correct.
whatever.
Correct,
No,
right.
Yeah.
but maybe someday it would pay for a firefighter's home.
No, but that's my point. So I don't
Which we
really
have
see this-
traditionally not done very well on providing.
We have not done well, and this is, I have to say, we've been meeting with the Affordable Housing Trust multiple times and trying to encourage them to move forward on things. We also, members of the CPC have gone and met with homeowners, seeing if they're willing to sell their land. It's been a challenge. I've had a willing seller, but the Affordable Housing Trust wasn't really on board with that.
Did they look at Miramar?
We did. We
Yeah,
all went up to Miramar
Yeah.
years ago, and I've sent letters to them and so forth. But they had certain constraints on what they wanted to have done with the property.
Yeah.
And it was
Yeah.
difficult.
That was difficult.
no, it was an example. I'm just trying to think,
Yes,
I mean,
CPC
to
was
me,
one, but I knew of
what-
some other developers up there. and it
What I
was
see
difficult.
from these is we end up with a lot of open land,
Right,
from these things.
Yeah.
And we never get to
Revenue.
we were talking about the other day about a 30-acre thing, and it means two houses. Versus, we need houses, we don't
right, we
need,
need revenue.
we don't need as
Exactly.
much
Yeah.
open land.
I think that we can't rewrite history.
Mhm.
I think that there was probably a gap in the programming, that when we bought large tracts of land
Yeah.
at the get-go, some of it should have been put aside for affordable housing. It didn't happen. It's now, in
What
order
was?
to revisit some of that,
Yeah.
you'd have to go to the state legislature, because it's all conservation.
Yeah.
So it is what it kind of
There's a certain
is what it is, but I
amount
think
allocated,
going forward, when conservation brings forward a piece of land, I know I'm personally gonna say, is there part of this for housing?
We always look at
Yeah.
open space for that purpose.
But
Define
historically,
where
it wasn't
blocks
as much of a look. And I think going forward, you've changed, in your attitude towards that, or you've highlighted that as
We
more of a
have,
concern.
I'd say for the past 10 years, we
Yeah.
have been really focusing to see whether something is suitable for housing.
Yeah,
But
community
I have to
needs have
say-
changed though, right? I mean, truly, the community needs have changed, right?
Yeah, but I have to say that always we have, done this and communicated with trust and.
But this is not a reflection on you all. I think community was very anxious to collect the conservation land, and I think the community is looking at it a little differently, and you are nothing more than a reflection of the community, so.
Oh, yeah, I think we all the members of the CPC really would like to get affordable housing up and moving.
And one of the problems is there's so little good buildable land
Yeah.
left that
It's true.
isn't developed for conservation.
I
So
will
you're-
say,
You're dealing with bonds.
Wait a minute.
So. Yeah, there is some, there's definitely.
It's difficult. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I just didn't want to come on.
no, I didn't mean, I thought you were stop sign.
It's okay. No worries.
So speaking for the Affordable Housing Trust, last night you guys were all in the select board meeting. I was in the Affordable Housing Trust because it started at 7 and I couldn't be in 2 places at once. So I sit on the Affordable Housing Trust and voting member. Last night, I am the chair of the Duxbury Housing Authority, and I've been working really hard on our subsidized housing in Duxbury and fixing that. And now I'm ready to work with the Affordable Housing Trust. And last night we talked about them coming to the CPC for money and using some of our money as the trust, some of the CPC money, to go and maybe look into purchasing a home that has a history in town so we used to have a lot of boarding houses, brothels and things like that in town, that have a history of being condominiumized that are available, and the authority that is state funded is willing to purchase, take that as a donation, create an LLC, hire a management company and create that housing and hire our own developers through our own town so that we don't have to have developers tell us what we're doing. We tell developers what we want, where we want it, and then they build it for us and then the town manages it. So it is
That's positive.
something that has been stagnant and we were really stuck on, it had to be new construction and it doesn't. I've gone through 83 pages of law, that it does not have to be new construction. It can be a lot of different things. So I sit on the CPC as well, as a voting member, and I have seen the frustration from day one. That's why I ended up being in the CPC, and I was a point person on the Affordable Housing Trust with no voting power. And just recently, a few months ago, I got voted in. I'll be there for the next 8 years, give me some face. But there is movement. So I hear your frustration. I get it. They get it. And last night everyone was really on board and positive with creating an LLC with the Housing Authority as a state entity. Just like we have on Old Cordwood Path, we have a home there. We have 6 adults that need supervision, but not too much supervision. They live there. The state pays most of their rent. They pay the other part. Everyone's very happy. We get all our money plus some. It pays all the utilities. It pays for all the landscaping. It pays all the property taxes. We still pay property taxes. So the town's not losing out on anything. So it's there. We hear it. It's coming. The warrant is so close now that there's no way. But on the warrant, we have the ask for a housing person that will be on payroll so that it's not all on the volunteers, and figure out what we have and what we can do to move forward, to really use the funds and not leave it stagnant, because the CPC needs to be able to do all the projects we went through last night, all the things we went through today, and hop on something if it's hot. Get ready to pay that contractor that we need to be able to do that thing if we need to do that thing.
Well, they're never going to be able to do that because you can only access their money once a year. There's no hopping.
There's typically once a year.
Right, but I mean, it takes a year for everyone to figure out what we're even asking.
No, I'm just saying, I'm just saying, the monies aren't available other than once a year, just kind of
No.
FYI.
You're
So-
not opening that checkbook immediately.
No, but once we
Even
have
though
the
they
checkbook,
want
but
to,
once we have it, right? So
Yes.
like, once we have it, and then it's there, we have $5 million
I think
in our
that's been
pocket.
one of the gating
That's what we
items though,
jump-
because real
that's what
estate moves so quickly and
Right.
this process
And
does
the
not
inventory's been so
move
low.
quickly. But kind of circling back to where we were,
Yeah,
we were all, I think, looking at your bank account and going, oh, good job, you, hope it's invested. And, but I would be,
Thanks to Merit.
surprised if it wasn't a discussion point. And I personally would rather see CPC lead the discussion with the select board, as opposed to someone that was not as intimately involved and aware of what your future and current needs are. Is that a fair statement?
I wish I knew exactly, financially, what our future needs are going to be. I spoke to Dan this afternoon. And he said, we are counting on this money because there are those small parcels that are sitting around town that we'd like to acquire.
Well,
Yeah.
8 million?
I don't know what,
Yeah, it used to
What
be that
it
people
will-
would give us land,
yeah,
but now
No,
if you're
it's
looking at a
No.
property that's worth $1 million, the heirs are not as apt to donate. Then, it's part of their
What
estate.
about some of the town land that we have? Wasn't there?
Most of
property
it, well, it's,
isn't there a property on Tremont Street that,
yes,
we also.
There
have
is.
on
Couple of-
Laurel Street too, and
Harrison?
we traded.
There's 12 acres
no,
in
no,
there.
that's not Harrison, it's on Tremont, it's the
it's
end.
right around there.
Okay, on the end of Harrison, right?
Yes, there's that paper subdivision, which is there, which I think is something that has been discussed ad nauseum for about 30 years. But most of the land is already, it's conservation, it's passive recreation, it's kind of locked down when it's purchased, but not always.
What's exciting too is we can kind of look at things that are going around town and not reinvent the wheel. Over at Camp Wayne, some of that was conservation. We traded it for a different spot. That was how we used it. It wasn't wetland. It was great. We used that. We said, sure, you want to buy that junk? Then we get that. So,
I have a real problem with that, though.
I mean, I don't love it over there, but I'm just saying that just because something's conservation doesn't mean it's conservation for life, or just because.
Yeah, that's exactly what it means.
No.
If it's put into conservation, it's in perpetuity. You have to go through a very, you have to go through a legal process to designate it as
You
anything
gotta go
else.
through a legal process to do anything these days. I get it, but I'm just
But,
saying.
we're getting off the point.
Yeah, we
We're
are.
getting off the point. So,
Do you think, we're gonna be at the selectmen's meeting on Monday? Do you think that would come up?
You might.
I think it might. I mean, if it was something that occurred to us as a group after seeing it and
Right.
wanting to have the conversation. I mean, I think it is more appropriate coming from the select board. I think, this is just the training wheel conversation.
well, you said you were surprised to see the balance. I mean, we were very surprised.
I
was very
was.
surprised to see the
It
balance.
was like,
You know,
I was
oh,
like, whoa.
Was it interest? Did that make it grow or it is invested, I would think.
I mean,
Mary, is it invested?
yes, it is, because we got 10,000 on interest on recently.
I think it's because
Yes.
they didn't have big land.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
something to
Yeah,
suck
he's
up the,
drawn it down.
yeah.
Well, the cost of land is so, it's very, it is a big part of people's estate now. They're not as apt to
Where,
negotiate with the town as they were 20 years ago or 30 years ago.
and it gets back to that nimbleness that we can't do, that a developer can. So unless the property owner is willing to wait,
You can't engage in a purchase and sale immediately, for instance. You have to wait until those money becomes available.
Yep, go ahead.
I don't think they can control it or anything, but I think from a marketing standpoint, when you ask the town that is going for an override to clean up Polly's Pond, I think that
Would you like to discuss
stimulates,
that further?
that stimulates a lot of negative conversation.
it does.
Yeah.
I know there's probably no way you can avoid putting it out there. If somebody brings it forward and it meets the requirements, then probably gotta bring it forward. But it's tough to swallow.
But we didn't. We didn't.
No, but at a town meeting, it's gonna be.
It'll be on, it'll be included.
Yeah, all right.
We'll blame Tony for that.
We had a conversation about that this morning, and I have to tell you, I
know you love Polly's Pond, I know.
no, it wasn't that. I actually wanted, decided that maybe not this year. But then after listening to the committee members, I went right back on board with it. I think, a swamp is a good thing. I'm sorry, but it is. In this town, we got plenty of swamps. And that is part of our water resource. That is what is providing water to our groundwater system, which we are so reliant on. But it's a natural reserve and it's just been abused over the years. And I think it's time to clean it up. And you certainly see it when you're playing pickleball, tennis, basketball over there. If you're watching kids playing soccer on that field back there, that's part of the system there. And it needs to be cleaned up. It's been trashed. People have thrown stuff in it.
How's that not gonna happen again?
Definitely.
I think if it is respectfully cleaned up, and there was even a Boy Scout that built that deck that used to be there. So yeah, it's yeah.
They're not, I mean, we're looking for like landscape.
Yeah,
But
I-
less
you know,
fires in the water.
I wish we had another land opportunity this year. But I do know that, if affordable housing, wants to acquire land or do something with their land
Especially-
or come to us for more housing, great.
You gotta get it.
All right, I think that we put you on the spot enough.
No, I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, no,
Well, we
it's
kind of
just,
anticipated-
I just think it's
Yeah.
worth discussing here because it's gonna get discussed.
Yeah.
It's gonna come up at town meeting.
Okay, we need to, Mary, so I know that you've got the special town meeting, can we get some of that accomplished, maybe all of it?
Sure, that would be great.
Okay.
So thank you.
Bye, guys, thank you so much. Do we have, did we, oh gosh, we don't have copies of it,
She
right?
sent it she sent it,
I have,
I have it on email.
I have it saved.
Can you see the screen in the room?
Yeah, we sure.
Yeah, we can, just blow it up as much as you can for the fact that we're blind, I'm blind.
I do have the special, no, I don't.
Okay, special town meeting, let's
Yep.
get that squared away. All right, Mary, you drive. Okay.
Good night.
Bye, guys. Take care.
I'm staying at the babysitter. Bye, guys.
big night out.
Hey, listen, I'm usually on Zoom, so.
Okay. Mary,
Okay. Are you all set?
We're all set.
can you all see it? What about, Al and Teddy, do you have it? Because it got emailed to you.
It's also linked on the town's website, so you guys can go ahead and open it up if you want.
I downloaded it when Mary sent it out.
Okay, great.
Beautiful. I'm sure Ted did too.
So the first article, article number 1 is supplemental appropriations. And what we are asking the town to support is transferring $200,000 of free cash into our snow and ice budget in order to cover the current and any other deeper deficit that we may incur between now and the end of the fiscal year. I know you're going to ask me, so I was just running the report right now to see what the deficit looks like as of today. We are currently in a deficit position of about $36,000, but that is before the posting of of our current payroll, which includes the labor for our most recent storm. So that's going to be significant, not only significant across several departments. So I will know that final number next week once that payroll has been posted. But we are already in a deficit position, and should we incur any additional storms between now and the end of the year, this supplemental appropriation will address that.
Okay,
Okay,
Move to approve Article 1 supplemental appropriations, the amount of $200,000.
Second.
all those in favor, Teddy,
Aye.
Al,
Aye.
Chuck, I.
JRI.
Actually, I,
Betsy, I,
Kathleen, I.
okay. All right.
Rainey,
Well, I'm pretty turtles here.
Rainey, I'm assuming that you're tracking the votes because I didn't do that.
700. All right, I'm writing them down too, if you want to check with me tomorrow.
Great, thank you. Yep, just so that we can update our paperwork. Okay, second, just heard from them. Second article is our standard article of unpaid bills. And this is the list of bills or invoices that either came in late from the vendors or were not submitted in time before the end of the fiscal year for payment in FY26. They total $4,844.29, and the funding source is free cash.
Do we have to vote each line independently or?
No, we can. Oh,
Article.
Move to approve Article 2 unpaid bills in the amount of $4,844.29.
Second.
all those in favor, Ted,
Aye.
Al,
Aye.
Chuck, I.
JRI.
actually, I,
Betsy, I,
Kathleen, I.
okay, 700.
Great. Article 3 is our annual transfer of free cash to OPEB. And the request for this year's transfer is $300,000, which brings us back to the sort of routine and customary annual transfer that the town has recommended in their financial policies. If you remember correctly, last year's transfer was $190,000. We were not able to fully fund that, but this year we are reinstating that $300,000 funding threshold. And you can see in the description the balance of our existing plan assets at 6.8 million. You can also see our existing outstanding total unfunded liability as calculated by our actuary stands at 55 million.
Did we have any conversation about making up for the shortfall from last year, or just didn't seem possible for this year?
It didn't seem possible for this year, given the extensive and expensive capital projects that we contemplated under Article 6, along with the fact that in this next article, you'll see we are making up our contribution to the stabilization fund.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, good.
Enough said.
Move to approve Article 3 other post-employment benefits.
Second.
All right, Teddy,
Yes.
Al,
Aye.
Chuck, I.
JRI.
actually, I,
Betsy, I,
Kathleen, I.
okay.
Thank you.
All right. So these are all being moved by you and seconded by JR? Yep,
Yep.
okay,
Sounds
perfect. Let's stick with that.
Okay, great. So articles,
All right.
sorry.
Go ahead.
Article number 4 is the transfer of free cash to our stabilization fund. The total amount is $653,969. That represents essentially 2 actions. One is our standard annual contribution of $250,000, but we are also, as promised to the community, replenishing the use of stabilization funds from last year in the amount of $403,969. Again, for a total of $653,969. And in the description of the article, you'll also see the current balance of our stabilization fund is just over 7 million. This would bring it up to 7.7.
Move to approve Article 4 stabilization fund.
Second.
Teddy,
Aye.
Al,
Aye.
Chuck, I.
JRI.
actually, I,
Betsy, I.
Kathleen, I.
And that is gonna be good news to our bonding friends.
Yes, that will be. And we will be having our annual ratings call with them in April. So that will be good news if that passes at town meeting.
Yep, great.
Excellent. Our next article is Article 5, which is a transfer to our accrued liabilities and compensated absences fund. So this is the fund that we typically use when we have large payouts for employee separations. So folks who retire and who have accrued benefits that need to be paid out, or folks who terminate their employment with the town. What we typically try to do is in situations where the amounts are small enough, either the employee who is separating from the town's employee has not accrued benefits or doesn't have a large balance, we try to utilize the department's budget for that and in the operating budget. Knowing that the department is probably going to have a gap in time where that position is unfilled and they are able to absorb it. But what we've seen is we've seen a lot of retirements and separations of folks who have accrued balances that are hitting our fund, our compensated absences fund fairly significantly. So we want to make sure that we have sufficient funding available to address those situations as our budgets are getting tighter and tighter. It becomes a little less flexible in order to absorb those within the operating budget. The other thing to note is that this particular fund is specifically called out in the town's financial policies. And the recommendation is to maintain, to look at the average 5-year balance of our payouts. And in this particular case, our average balance in our payouts is $148,511 over the last 5 years. The current balance as of June 30th, so about 3/4 of a year ago, was $95,292. So this transfer of $150,000 into the fund would generally align with the financial policy. The ending balance would be slightly under 2 times the 5-year average.
Okay. Move to approve Article 5, accrued liabilities and compensated absences fund.
Second.
All those in favor, Teddy,
Aye.
Al,
Aye.
Chuck,
J.R.I.
Ashley, I.
Betsy, aye.
Kathleen, I.
Okay, 700. Article 6.
Excellent. Article 6 is the annual matching grant funds article, and we are asking for a transfer of $150,000 from free cash to establish an article that allows the town to have access to funds when we apply for grants that require a town match.
What's the balance in that account now?
So last year at town meeting, we appropriated $150,000. As of today, we've used $20,000 of that article. But there had been a period in time a couple years ago when this started that the town had to accumulate a couple years worth of these articles, if you will, in order to utilize $750,000 for that beach nourishment grant match.
Yep. So what
So
do we put in there, 150?
Yeah.
we're putting in 150 for this fiscal year.
Okay,
Article 6, move to approve Article 6, matching grant funds.
Second.
any other questions? Teddy,
Aye.
Al,
Aye.
Chuck, aye.
J.R.I.
Ashley, I.
Betsy, aye.
Kathleen, I.
All right, 700. We are cooking.
Mhm.
7, nothing?
And the last article, we do not have a dollar amount to vote for this, but I think you guys are all well aware that we have been in negotiations with all of our bargaining units in order, as our contracts had all expired on June 30th of 2025. And so we are making very good progress. However, this article in the special would fund year 1 of the contract, which is the current fiscal year that we're in. So this would need to be funded by free cash. So we are in the process right now of finishing those settlements, as well as calculating the retro wages that would be due to all of our employees. And as you can imagine, that is a pretty onerous task right now. So that amount is not yet known, but that is the intent and purpose of this article. So once we have the amount, we'll come back to you.
Okay, and it's not that unusual to vote that the day of town meeting. These things seem to get down to the wire, unfortunately.
They do. There's a lot of moving parts related to this.
All right, so yay, good job us, special town meeting, check, double check. We are invited to maybe I don't know if Rainey's on or not. Rainey, are you?
He is. He's just not a panelist. He's an attendee on here. Yes.
Okay, well,
Oh,
oh,
there
there
he
it
is.
is. Rainey, what are we doing on, as far as the finance committee on Monday?
I'm not sure what you mean. Forgive me.
Did you, I just didn't know, what are you presenting to the select board on Monday? Do you need our attendance? Where are we in that process? You got a lot done
Hold on
last
one
night.
sec. Hold on. I'll tell you just a sec. Just a moment. Let's see. February. On Monday, they're going to be doing, I've got Alex coming in for capital. They're going to be doing the Alden School feasibility study. I have John Lemieux coming in for that. Three CPC articles that they were waiting to see what your action was, and those were the Ellison Playground, the Accessibility Trail, and Polly's Pond. Proposed amendment to the general bylaws, the dissolution of the beach committee, and then they'll be doing capital light and sort of pro forma approving the 5A operating budget. They've already reviewed it and approved it. I just need them to vote on it. So I don't think it's necessary. I appreciate the offer, but we should be good. They do have to ratify the ballot question on the debt exclusion because it was read into the record incorrectly. Susan reviewed the minutes today and the tape, and they have to revote that, but that's just a procedural matter.
For both of them?
No, just the debt exclusion.
Oh, well. And the gentleman was there last night making a presentation. He's gonna have to do it again?
Well, he'll be back they haven't voted on it, and they had talked about having a presentation on it. But John was kind enough to offer to come back. So if they have any additional questions, they can ask them. And I think Danielle may want to be there too. It's just if they have any additional questions, they'll be there, and then they can.
Oh, so the article, not the question. Okay, got it.
That's correct. That's correct.
Catching. We did vote the question. We just didn't vote the article last night at town for the select board.
Correct.
Okay. All right, fine. All right, so we're in good shape. So what else? It's February, so we're somewhat ahead of the game. Where are we in the process, Mary? What else do we need to get done for you?
So you're sort of in a holding pattern right now because the other two articles in the annual that you have not yet voted are Article 4 and Article 8, which are all related to collective bargaining.
Yep. So there really isn't anything else. Does anybody else have anything with Jay?
So next Wednesday night, there's gonna be a presentation, Department of Transportation on the bridge.
Yeah, the power bridge, right.
And I'm not gonna be able to go, but I think
That would be a good
we
one
need
for us.
somebody to find out what's going on.
Right.
To keep us informed, basically.
Okay. We can make sure that somebody is, I'll send out an email and see who wants to or who's planning on attending. If I get caught short, I'll go, but whatever. We'll see, make sure that everybody knows. What else, Mayor?
So Betsy, the only other thing that we have queued up for the tentatively right now for the 12th would be to have the planning board, a representative from the planning board and the town planner come back and talk about battery storage. But I'm not, so the planning board has a public hearing on that for Monday evening on the 9th. And hopefully they'll be able to address some of the questions that were raised at FinCom. But if I'm thinking about your agendas and sort of looking at next week, because you guys have done such a great job of getting through all of the warrant articles that are available, I don't think you need to meet on the 10th, which is Tuesday. And if you only have this one agenda item for the 12th with the planning board, should we hold off and maybe schedule that for a future date when we're ready to take up the collective bargaining articles?
Do we have any other citizens petitions that we have to meet with folks?
No. And if you're going to do that, I would suggest you skip the week of school vacation.
Oh, good.
idea.
No, Ashley, don't panic. We are.
Yeah.
Don't scare her.
So that would mean the next time you would meet would be February 24th.
Right. And I just don't want us to be pushed to, multiple meetings right before town meeting, but I think we're in good shape.
I think
Unless God forbid, something comes up that changes it. The warrant is still open, as I recall from last night,
No,
so.
it's not.
Oh, you did close, you ended up closing it after I left? Okay,
We open and close it on the same night. That's correct.
okay, great.
Randy, do you want these excess warrants back in your office?
Yeah, if you don't mind, when you have time, don't worry about it.
Okay, I'll drop them.
Or actually,
All right.
could you grab them?
I got them right in my hot little hand.
Okay, thank you. Oh, Mary's
Um,
virtual. Sorry, I just realized she's not there.
Oh,
Um,
me?
Yeah, you're
Oh,
virtual.
I'm in my office.
Yeah, that's fine.
Hot little hand over here.
All right, what else?
So we have 2 weeks off?
We might have 2 weeks off. Everybody go skiing? I
Is that
don't know.
what
I
you're
mean,
saying, Mary?
Don't say that
Yes.
out loud, because then that means it's gonna have to be something.
Go away.
But let's see how it goes. And if you need us to come to any select board meetings as you progress through with them,
Yeah,
then we can make sure that there's a representative there or whatever you need.
I will ring the bell. Thank you.
Motion to adjourn.
So, well, I'll go to Monday night, I'll go to the battery thing.
Oh, okay, that'd be great. All right, so you can do the battery thing, and then we'll have a meeting where we circle back on these things to catch up on them. And Wednesday night with the bridge, I'll go or I'll get somebody else to go. I'll just see if somebody else is planning on going, then we don't have to do that. And I think that we had a good conversation with CPC about the future of their surcharge, and I would be surprised if it didn't come up at the selectmen's meeting, but the ball's in their court now.
Mhm.
How's everybody feel about that? We good?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Bye.
Aye.
Aye.
And
Thank you
Okay.
all.
Bye.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
I.